welcome to a special episode of the Smartest Moron, where, well, it keeps feeling like I'm pissing on games that people find good that I frickin' hate, and really, today feels no frickin' different.
Enslaved was a game developed by Ninja Theory, the same people responsible for Heavenly Sword and the DMC reboot. In fact, I only found out about this game after the reboot came out. I checked this game out along with Heavenly Sword to see if their writing was as good as people claimed it was. Heavenly Sword was pretty lackluster, and saved only by the scene eater known as Bohan. Seriously, this guy steals the show and really is a damn good argument for a good actor saving a dead role. Enslaved, well, in some places the writing is certainly decent. At first, there were hardly any moments where I hated the characters, and the characters did work off each other fairly decently. However, it fails in getting its main message across with the writing, and actually ruins the characters later on. The development is something I kinda take issue with too, mainly with the head of Ninja Theory, Tamim. He keeps talking a big game about making emotionally engaging characters, but it seems he just ignores other games around him that have done that, and doesn't quite deliver on what was promised either. It's why the comments in that review about DMC, and his claims about trying to change things up, only to do the exact frigging opposite. Enslaved is probably the closest he ever came to succeeding, and he had help, and oddly enough from Alex Garland, someone who is more used to working with movies. Though according to some reviews, his assistant seemed like a great addition, actually giving reason for the action pieces. However, like I said, Enslaved fails and the key lies in the story. I talk more about the gameplay, but the footage I got was from hard mode after a new game plus, and I felt it was unfair to judge it from that, despite previous experiences. If you want my overall opinion on it, it's okay. And while easy, it's not unbearably slow. Platforming does feel a bit automatic though, but moves wonderfully. But then there's some problems. You see, your staff gun and regeneration abilities later do break the game quite a bit. Boss fights like towards the end are absolutely worthless, and combat is just okay. That's about all I can say to sum things up about it. If you are thinking of getting this game, I recommend the PC version for more content. Plus, no need to spend $10 on some DLC for Pigsy either. It's also fairly short with no real extra content either, so all the more reason to get the PC version. So let's briefly go over the story. You play as Monkey. Yeah, this game isn't really subtle with references to Journey of the West. He wakes up in a slave ship and finds a woman named Trip escaping. He tries to ask for help, but his expressions and his face, well, they don't exactly scream friendly. He looks like a very angry clown.
Get out before it gets dark tonight. You're too old to stop me. You're all too old.
Yeah. So Trip is escaping and her actions are somehow causing the ship to tear apart. If you are wondering, no, she doesn't have any valuable information to fight the slavers or anything, so she is killing countless innocent people to save herself, not even giving them the chance to flee. Now the ship also clarifies that every human is a slave, and it seems they aren't too much of a concern to the owner. We see one moment where the slave headband is in use as Monkey extorts some info to leave the ship from a reluctant slave, and that same slave is killed for his troubles after telling Monkey the info. So clearly rules are in place for whoever has that headband on. Hell, in order to subdue Monkey, robots are deployed and even gun down some slaves, adding to the evidence that whoever controls these slaves doesn't give a shit. After all of this and more fighting, as well as trying to escape a crumbling ship, which is admittedly pretty cool, Monkey finds Trip, and is not saved as the both of them are ejected from the ship and he's outside the pod. Yeah, this guy is having a really bad day. It was amazing he managed to freaking live. By the time he recovers, Trip is just sitting around and applied the headband to his head. Without consent, of course, in order to enslave him for her own protection. Monkey takes it well.
You put this on me.
Let me explain.
Get this thing off, or I'm gonna rip your head off.
No.
No? You think I'm screwing with you?
Yes! Give me a stop!
To be fair, she isn't 100% in the wrong, and the headband does help her communicate and strategize with Monkey. And with her not helping him before, and getting the impression that he's Joker crossbred with Wolverine from Universe 3947, and she can't form a laser gun somehow, she pretty much has no choice but to use Monkey. Though she later goes beyond this and keeps Monkey as she tries to gain revenge for her destroyed village later in the game. I do get why some people take criticism with her character doing this, painting her as, well, kind of a horrible person. To be fair, I can understand the reasoning and her emotions at the time, especially when you control a living death machine for a man. Really, my main problem is Monkey not really reacting and wordlessly accepting this. But this is a main problem for the game itself. A lack of humanity in the other areas. It's why someone like Pigsy is somewhat of a relief despite him being, well, a disgusting and perverted asshole. There's little interaction with others, so it's hard to see how characters react in other situations. Trip already is not so great since, well, she let a bunch of people die. Plus, some events are described as opposed to shown, like Monkey's origins, Trip's life before her village is destroyed, and more. Sad part is that kind of information could have helped the ending a bit more. And while some criticize the scene with Monkey choosing to be enslaved, I do get it despite being wrong at first glance. It's something that shows Monkey doesn't want to live without Trip if she dies. It's one of the few scenes I can consider being good, but the intent is ruined by the ending of the game. After a lackluster and meaningless fight with robotic scorpions as they overrun your stolen giant robot, which sounds cool but really isn't, Bixie sacrifices himself because he learned the true value of friendship after nearly getting Monkey killed.
If you were wondering why, well, hell if I know. I assume this has something to do with the DLC, or it's just frickin' lazy writing. You make the call. Because I am not spending $10 on that. That's Popeye's money.
Monkey and Trip finally meet Pyramid and all the slaves under his control, and surprisingly no resistance. Seriously, you think the duo would have more robots or even hidden turrets or an energy shield, but nope, the duo finally meet the man, who is at this point just a hologram controlling some dude. He goes on to say how these people are not slaves, how he saved them, how the world they now live in are filled with so many mechs and dangers. In this violent world, there's no chance to be happy, constantly living in fear or so poorly. Even food is hard to come by. So what he is trying to do is make peace by saving people, creating a cyber world where they can all live and be happy.
Wow, that's very noble, and you're just sacrificing so much for all these people. Just tell me one thing. How exactly did the first part of the game go again?
Welcome to Slave Ship 909 en route to Pyramid.
Come on. Oh, silly me. I'm trying to catch a Charmeleon that's currently in my room in Pokemon Go. Can you repeat what was just said?
Welcome to Slave Ship 909 en route to Pyramid.
I'm so sorry about this, but can you just show us one more time for our audience?
Welcome to Slave Ship 909 en route to Pyramid.
So Pyramid, you're full of shit. And I'm gonna start a countdown explaining why.
Number 1. Those mechs you claim are in this world? You are making them! They are from the ships operated by the damn slaves and are stationed in spots and always try to take Trip away or try to kill her. You clearly have control over them, especially when they are guarding your factory.
They have jobs. They have marriages. They bring up their children. Their children go to schools. You have no schools. You have mechs.
That you keep making!
Number 2. Why the hell did you need the Leviathan? True, in the game you do at least see one other giant mech, but it's rendered useless. Never do we see a force in the game like a band of rebels that warrants needing such firepower. 3. Not only did the first level label them as slaves, not only did the robots mercilessly try to kill all the slaves instead of pacifying them, but they killed slaves already working for you, and someone who disobeyed orders is automatically killed via the goddamn headband. What's your excuse on that part? Number 4. Why not try and talk to the people in the first place? You have your place fortified, and your biggest threat is a guy with a stick who needed to sacrifice the giant robot you made in order to make it inside. You hold a damn clear advantage. Number 5. You say how wicked the world is, yet refuse to try and help the world. Instead, we have robotic animals roaming about and murdering people outright, and you doing the same. Fine, I'll accept you can't control every single robot, but that's all the more important to try and get on their good side. See your point of view. It's not like there's a horrible downside. Hell, you can make a deal of letting some people stay and be happy while others work for you to help rebuild civilization and be part of the real world better. In fact, you were supposedly trying to do that as human slaves were working at your giant robot factory. Or are we gonna pretend that little comedy scene didn't frickin' happen? Number 6. You slaughtered Trip's village! Yeah, we see burnt corpses in the city as well, so what the flying hell did you do that if you were saving people? Oh, because they fought back? Well, yeah! I fight back too against robots with giant claws and lasers trying to enslave or kill me. Or run away, that's probably the safest bet for me. Hell, Trip's dad committed friggin' suicide! Number 7. How do they have children? How do they even eat? Is there some kind of tube in the suit that supplies nutrients? How do you get those nutrients? Do the slave kids as babies go through this crap too? Nothing you do or say makes sense! Number 8. Monkey does point out the hypocrisy with destroying the current world for, well, some illusion, and is offered the mask. Well, I'm sure Monkey won't just put it on and...
Monkey!
It's beautiful.
Wow, just wow, that one scene I actually defended, you absolutely killed it. It's actually kind of hilarious, because you see all these notes to meme, all the notes I took of that scene? This is what you did to it!
This game is trying to point out a dilemma between living in a harsh reality or be comforted by being enslaved, not accepting the truth. Except this ending not only just throws this question so blatantly, but very poorly, as the bad guy is not making sense when he is the one who is responsible for messing everything up and being hypocritical. The worst part of the story is how it tries to ask whether or not freeing all the slaves was the right thing to do, despite what the world was like before. Sure, they may have been happy, but you guys sure as hell weren't. The world was in disarray, people were frigging dead and burned to ash. Trip's deaths are brutal as hell as well. This ending is clearly trying to make me ponder this question, make me confused when the answer is so goddamn obvious. Go in this dude's world, odds are you'll be shipped on a slave ship, trying to convert people, and be threatened with death if you make one little mistake.
So with all that said and done, do you really see why I friggin' hate this game?
This ending not only ruins the overall theme it wanted to go for, but ruins the dynamic of the main characters, the one thing that could have saved this game. You'd think with a lack of other characters in this game, the focus on these two would still be powerful to overcome this gigantic failure. I'll admit this is significantly better than some romances I covered on this show that were god-awful. Trip does have a tad more to her besides dumbass damsel, but nothing much stands out aside from her using Monkey. But after playing this game and seeing this story, I really don't get why Capcom chose them to develop and write the DMC reboot, much less how anyone says the writing in Enslaved is phenomenal. It's freaking garbage! That being said, if you really want to pick this game up, pick up the Steam version, as it does come with the DLC. Maybe you'll find more value in it than I did, and it's overall a harmless purchase.
I'm the Smartest Moron, and if you're wondering if I'm going to cover Hellblade, no. It would have to do something phenomenal for me to actually cover it. Or if I'm paid to. Either way, I still got Shadowheart's Covenant to take care of, so I'll be right back with that soon. Until next time.
Stop the